Policy of January 9, 2023. The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore, is recognized for 60 minutes as the designee of the Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the topic of this special order.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tonight, members will cover a variety of topics, as will I, particularly what the Biden administration's war on American energy. I'm going to make a very, very clear point on what is going on with the Biden administration's foreign policy while he limits and restricts what American exports can do with respect to liquefied natural gas, thus making it harder for our allies to have the energy needs that they need, forcing them to turn to Russia, where Russia can make revenue, make money in which to wage war in Ukraine. I mean, if every American could actually understand what's going on, U.S., we're not allowed to export LNG to our allies overseas. And at which point, Russia can then continue to sell to desperate nations these energy needs, at which they take that revenue and then wage war in Ukraine. And then now constantly pushing to be able to, spend more U.S. tax dollars to go to Ukraine. Wouldn't a more productive way is to make strong energy policy, to limit what Russia can do overseas, be in a better position to help Ukraine, which I'm very supportive of. So we're going to make this point. We'll talk about the impeachment of DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, China's poor treatment of the Uyghurs, and President Biden for being unfit for office. As we talk about these important topics and House Republicans' legislative efforts this week, I want to take a moment to share the story and honor the memory of Tamir Adar. Tamir was a 38-year-old father of 2 who was killed defending his home and loved ones from Hamas on the morning of October 7th. His body was mercilessly abducted to Gaza by terrorists and remains there today. Tamir was part of the kibbutz's emergency response squad on the morning of October 7th. He bravely left his home at 6:30 in the morning while warning his wife and 2 children to shelter in place. He died protecting a neighborhood where he had lived his entire life and ensuring that his family would survive. I stand here today to demand that Hamas return Tamir's body to Israel immediately, along with every single one of the 133 remaining hostages. Hamas continues to violate every norm in international humanitarian law, subjecting its hostages to horrific conditions without access to medical care from the International Red Cross. This cannot continue. Israel has proven its willingness to pause the fighting for hostages to be returned home. Unsurprisingly, it was Hamas who broke the first hostage deal, just as it broke a ceasefire that was in place before October 7th. Now is time for the United States to stand with Israel as it seeks to destroy Hamas, free its citizens, and return the bodies of the fallen back to where they belong. The U.S. must also put pressure on Qatar and other regional partners with ties to Hamas to increase their own leverage on this terrorist group to immediately free all those it is holding captive. It's time to bring Tamir's body home, and it's my sincerest thoughts and prayers with his family as they mourn his loss. With that, I will yield now at this time as many minutes as my distinguished colleague from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for the first remarks of the evening.